Are we supposed to fast? And if so, when? Well, Mark 2:10 will explain all this. Mark 2:20 reads, Eleusum taide hemerai hotan apartse apauton honunfius, kai tote nesteususin enekenete hemera. The verse this time is very short and very simple from a grammatical point of view. You have the main verb, which is right here, verb number one, and then you have the subject, hemere. So this is the subject. And you have this particle they, which is an adversity particle, which we can translate but or however. Okay, we're going to talk about that. And then you have this clause introduced by hotan, which indicates a temporal clause, when. And you have the subject, let's call it subject two, which is the subject of this clause right here, the verb two of the clause, and then you have this apauton, which is a prepositional phrase where you have your apo preposition plus the genitive that you see here, where the omicron drops because it collides with the alpha with which the next word starts. And then you have the continuation of the sentence with the sky, and so you're gonna have another verb, which is nesteususin. So this is verb number three, but basically V1, verb number one, verb number three, they're connected, and they're connected by this sky. So first eleusontai, and then neusteususin, nesteususin. And then the verse ends with this prepositional phrase, now introduced by this different preposition, which is en. So here the preposition is apo plus genitive. This is en plus dative. You see the ending here is eta with iota subscript, eta iota subscript, alpha iota subscript. These are all datives, all in the same case, where the object of the prepositional phrase is hemera, te is the definite article, and ekene is just an adjective, a demonstrative adjective in this case, that is all connected to the same word, which is hemera, which, by the way, is the same noun we see here, hemerae. This is in the nominative plural. This is in the dative singular. All right, now that we understand the grammar behind the verse, we can translate pretty quickly. Let's start from the subject, hemerae. Okay, hemera means day or time. Okay, so you see this I ending. This indicates that it's a feminine plural in the nominative case, nominative because it's a subject. So days, this literally means days. Days eleusontai. Now, this is an irregular verb. It comes from the verb erchomai. The verb erchomai is used a lot because it's a very common verb. It means to go or to come. And of course, we need to understand if it's one or the other according to the context. And in this context, makes sense to understand the verb meaning to come. Why? Because Jesus is talking in the future. Eleusontai is the irregular future of the verb erchomai in the indicative future tense, in the third person plural, because of course the subject is plural. Okay, so days will come. Okay, and this day we already anticipated is an adversative particle that indicates a contrast with the concept that has been expressed before. So some kind of but or however, but days will come. Okay, but days will come. Hotan. Hotan, we already said, is a preposition that introduces a temporal clause, which means when. Okay, days will come, though days will come when subject, ho nuncius. So ho is the definite article, the, right? The in the nominative masculine singular case. Nuncius, we saw it in the previous verse, is the groom. Okay, is the groom, is the bridegroom. Okay, so this is the subject. So in the nominative case, masculine singular. So when the bridegroom, and the verb is here, aparse. Now this is kind of hard to reconstruct, but the verb is apairo. Okay, apairo, which is a compound verb. There is a preposition apo, which then is repeated also after the verb. This is very typical in Greek, where the preposition also appears in the verb and then after the verb to stress the same concept. But the base verb is the verb airo, which just means to take. And the preposition apo, or as we said, up, while the omicron gets dropped because it collides with the alpha, is a preposition that means away, away, okay, away. And so airo means take, apiro means take away, okay, take away. What kind of tense is that? Well, definitely has to be in accordance with the nominative singular, so masculine singular subject, so it's in the third person singular, obviously, but it's in the passive. Okay, it's a passive form of the verb to take away, and also it's in the aorist tense, and also in the subjunctive form. Subjunctive. And the subjunctive form, it's because it's within a clause. Okay, it's not in the principle, in the main part of the sentence. It's within the clause, so it's very typical in Greek to use the subjunctive form. Okay, but in English we can simply translate with the passive form. So days will come when the bridegroom may, we could say, may be taken away, or is taken away. Okay, may be taken away, apauton, again, away from. So again, away from. Auton, we've encountered this many times, is the personal pronoun in the third person plural. Okay, but in this case, you see this omega nu is the ending of a genitive plural. Now, genitive, it's simply because the preposition apo wants the genitive after it, away from somebody. That somebody must be in the genitive case. Plural, it's them, away from them. Okay, so but days will come when the bridegroom may be taken away from them. Okay, kai, and tote, it's another adverb that indicates time. Then, okay, and then, so days will come, and then, again, another stressing, temporal stressing, enekeine te hemera, in that day, or in that time, in this case, because of course it's not one particular day, right? Days will come, okay, time will come when the bridegroom will be taken away from them, and then in that time, okay. Notice in Greek there is the demonstrative adjective that in the feminine singular. So this is feminine singular in the dative case, okay, because the preposition "n" wants the dative. But also it's together with the definite article. So literally in Greek, this reads "in that the time." Okay, but of course that we don't say that in English. In that time, okay, and then in that time, nesteususin. Okay, we've been seeing this verb over and over in these past few verses because it's all about fasting. Jesus talking about fasting, and this is the verb that means to fast. And notice this ending with this sigma here that indicates this is a future tense. It's a future tense. And the ending using is in the third person plural. It's talking about the disciples. They will finally fast. So let's put it all together. But days will come when the bridegroom will be taken away from them, and then in that time they will fast. So, what is the answer of Jesus to those that were challenging him, asking why the disciples of John the Baptist are fasting, or even the disciples of the Pharisees are fasting, while your disciples are not? And Jesus says, well, how can they be fasting if the bridegroom is with them? Can the friends of the bridegroom, the one in charge of putting together the celebration for the marriage, be fasting when the bridegroom is with them? But there will be a time when they will fast. And that's the time when the bridegroom will be taken away from them. So, what is Jesus talking about? He's, of course, foreshadowing, for saying his death and resurrection. He will be taken away. There will be the time of mourning. Okay. And that's why we fast today. That's why we keep fasting, because Jesus is not with us anymore, in a sense, and we're waiting for his return. And that's exactly the time that Jesus was speaking about in Mark 2:20. Fasting is important, is a great practice of penance, and is directly commanded by Jesus.